All right, welcome to the show today. So today I'm going to be interviewing Ann Newman, who we call Mo. She is an IFBB figure pro. She is also the NPC South Carolina and North Carolina vice chairperson. Is that right?
Yeah, we just call it the Carolinas now.
The Carolinas NPC chairperson. She's also an IFBB Pro League and NPC national level judge, as well as a hairstylist. And so we're going to be talking a lot about the overall look of the sport, stage presentation, all the things that go into the overall look. And so Mo has a lot of experience with all of these things. So what did I leave out, Mo? What else do you do in the sport? I feel like I left out so many things.
It's totally fine. No, it was great. Yeah, now that Trey Bennett, our state chairman, got North Carolina last year, it was great. So it's just kind of the Carolinas, one big happy family. And I'm fortunate I get a vice chair that. But no, you hit the nail on the head.
And also, she was the head judge of the first ever NPC Nashville Fit Show, and the first 2 years. Repping right there, and excited to hopefully have you back this year on the judging panel in August.
I'm there. I'm excited.
So let's just jump right in. Let's talk about the overall stage look. So many things go into that: your hair, your makeup, your suit.
Let's address for the girls first, because I hate it because we do focus so much on the ladies, and the guys are very important too. So obviously it's a lot more simplified for them. But for ladies, especially I've been on the stage on both ends. So I've been on the stage where they are competing and now seeing it on the other side of the fence. And with contest prep, as we know, and the stage and the glamour, everything, it can get complicated if we allow it to. So I always said the trick of the trade to me to keep nerves and everything settled and still be glamorous is to keep things simple. Now, don't recognize simple as non-existent or minimal, but simple as in not complicated, as in, I've heard a lot of girls, do I have to wear extensions? That kind of questions, or do I have to? There's no have tos at all. There's no written rule. You must do X, Y, and Z for hair and makeup, but there is what looks right and what looks wrong or not good. How about that? And so for instance, hair is, so it is a fitness competition, a physique competition first and foremost, but we are human beings as judges. So when we have two physiques that are compatible and they're battling it from 1 to 2, and they're, hair splitting difference between the two, the hair, makeup, suit, presentation all comes into play heavily. So with your makeup, I think the most important, you probably know this too, Whitney, from being a competitor, our base, our foundation. I don't know how many times I've seen muddy face, which means that 9 times out of 10, you got your face painted from your tanning. Okay. So what it is our pores on our face are quite different than the rest of our body. So it sucks in different levels of moisture on our face and our bodies. So if we're sweating or get our perspiration up a little bit from anxiety, that we start getting a muddy effect. And so you put makeup and then your blush and your eyes on, it just looks really muddy. So it's a different texture.
Of course, I've experienced it before. I've seen it before, and I've experienced it myself when back in the day,
you don't know back in the day is you young, shut up.
I started competing in 2009.
Okay, well, I'm talking like 1993.
Whoa. All right.
But that's when I started.
But I would get my face sprayed a few times because I'm like, oh, then I won't need foundation. I'll just get it.
Or not as much. And so I made that mistake too. And you see from the pictures, you're like, why do I look so not natural, real muddy look?
Well, that's, I've never heard it explained that way and why it's a muddy look. So moral of the story, do not get your face sprayed.
Who do you have sponsoring your show this year?
Liquid Sun Rays. Oh my gosh. They will not let you.
Yeah. So they're smart, they're experienced now. And some of these non-experienced people are like, do you want your face painted? Which innocently you think, yeah, that would help. But in reality, it does not. So I say, ladies, make sure you don't get your faces painted, and make sure with your foundation, you got to remember our face is different than our body. So the great rule for me was 2 to 3 shades lighter than our body was where I would land my foundation. And I highly recommend that you use the the official sponsor of each show. But if you do your own, just keep that in mind, because I did some of my makeup, because I do makeup for a living too. Just keep it like 2 to 3 shades different. You don't want to be as dark as your body.
That's really good advice, because a lot of people, they just don't know. And I've seen it go both ways. They've gone way too light.
Yeah.
And like a white head on a dark body on stage.
Floating head.
Yeah, because you know how the lights are and then how dark your body is. It looks crazy. And for me, I'm horrible with makeup. So I always say, if you're not good at makeup, just hire like the team that is there, dedicated. They do this for a living.
Yeah.
It takes so much stress off of you. And it's just something that I factored into my budget with competing, because I'm like, I'm horrible at makeup. I'm just going to let somebody else do it.
And it simplifies things. The complication meter is way down. So your whole system, from the head down, my mind prep from the head down is a lot more relaxed. Therefore, your body is going to be in a lot better state once you enter that stage itself.
You hit the nail on the head. The more stress you can take off of your mind, it's going to take it off of your body, and you will look better.
And then eyeshadow. There's another thing, like when I do feedbacks and stuff, I remember this from quite some time ago. Like, try not to match your lovely golden suit, your whatever color suit you have, to your eyeshadow. And a lot of times it's just because it's too much. It conflicts, you start, I wouldn't say it conflicts, but it like blends. It's just too much of the same. Yeah. So back when I used to do weddings and do hair and makeup in the salon, makeup, I still do hair, but I would always say, you still want to look like yourself, just done up a notch. And same with the stage. So you still want to look like Whitney, but you want Whitney done up a notch, so accent, everything nicely. Like I've seen lime green suits and lime green eyeshadows, and it's just like your eyes are bulging out. It's just not as good. So
it's just too much.
Yeah.
That's good advice too. Like, you want to look like yourself, but done up a notch. And like, after, I made so many mistakes early on in competing, and like I look back at some of my pictures though, and I didn't look like myself at all. Like, this is me, okay? Straight hair, just pretty basic. So I look at pictures where my hair was so curly and big, like back in like 2011 or whatever.
Yeah.
And my makeup was just too much. My eyelashes were like out to here. I had on hot pink, like lip gloss, which is not me. And I'm like, that does not look like me. There's no way I could look confident on stage, because I probably didn't even feel like myself. Like, if you don't feel confident in the way that you look, you're not gonna look confident on stage. So I'm like, I finally learned.
Hey, but that's good. You finally learned. So, and what's great too are trailblazers like yourself, guiding the way for those that haven't entered yet to not have to recreate the wheel. I always say, keep it simple. You got to remember too, with your foundation, you try not to, and the reason why you don't want to get it so dark is because you still have accent colors to add. Your blush, your lips, your eyes, your eyebrows, don't forget those too. So if you get your foundation so dark and then you add these colors to it, it's really going to be a mess. I always like, when in doubt, just hire it out.
When in doubt, hire it out. I love it. Yes. Okay, there we go.
Do it. Just do it. And what's really good too is, remember, when you go to your makeup artist, you do have a choice. So like, if you have a favorite lipstick that you want to bring with you, and it's like in the tones that favor your skin, definitely bring it with you. I always brought my own, because I knew later afterwards, like, I wanted to still use that one, because you might get your hair and makeup done early and you eat and drink still, and that lipstick's gone. So, keep that in mind too. So if you want to bring that with you, and those makeup artists are great, they will use that.
So let's talk about suits.
Yes.
I love talking about suits. So many girls have so many questions on, okay, well, do I have to, like you were talking about, do I have to have it completely blinged out? What are the rules on the number of rhinestones? And back to your keep it simple. I love that advice, because some things are just, they overthink it way too much.
Keep that laser vision on your journey of prep and get that body fine-tuned, where all the others are just accents. You've got to remember, the hair and makeup suit's an accent to the body. The body is first, the foremost, what is of importance. So that suit should just flatter you and flatter your lines and such. And the colors should enter in your realm of your skin tones, your eyes, your features, because I would not look good in yellow, bright yellow on stage, but different skin tones could, like you and I have to stay away from that. And know your color scheme, know what if you're cool or warm tones, or if you're in the middle and could do a neutral and do both, something like that. Know that prior to entering in purchasing a suit. So this way, when the suit maker gives you a swatch rack to pick from, you know what family you should be choosing from, the cools or naturals or warm tones. Or if you're buying one that's used, I always say, ladies, whatever suit fits your lines, and ask a judge or a experienced trainer that really has an eye for it. Get what they say, get what it fits, feel comfortable in it. Heck, and wear it all season, 2 seasons. Us judges, from a judge's point, I do not say, oh my God, I remember what Whitney's suit looked like.
Yeah,
It
that's
could be
a
like,
good point.
suit looked awesome because I just remember it flowed. Like I tell girls all the time, if it fits you and you're comfortable in it and the judges like it on you, keep it. I know sometimes I always say, if your finance, I always say, do within your finances. Tell your suit maker, I have X amount of dollars to spend. Here's my budget. Get creative.
Yeah, that's great advice, because I feel like, and even when I first started competing too, there's so much pressure. Like, you can't wear the same suit to another show, just like you can't wear the same outfit the next day. It is not like that at all.
Taboo. Don't do it.
No, like I've seen pros like on a high level wear the exact same suit for years and years and years, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Absolutely.
If it fits you perfect and the judge, the judges like that color on you, why change it? Just keep rolling with it.
Just make sure that you're happy with it and it flows and it fits you right. The lines are the most important, especially in figure and in physique, where we wear our suits up higher, or should, to give that illusion of a smaller waist. Bikini's even doing that now, where I remember when bikini began, it was kind of the suit sat out a little bit too far on the waist. And you got to remember too, the illusion of your eyes. You want our judges' eyes to go up and out this way, where our hips even look wider than maybe some of them are. And that's not good either. And gentlemen, for the guys with suits, with bodybuilding, I don't know how much I always tell those guys in bodybuilding, get those suit trunks up. I've told them, hike them up, because it does give the illusion of your waist being smaller. So don't allow those to fall down. Go back in the day and look at some pictures of these guys in the 80s and 90s. They had that stuff hiked up, and it gives you that V taper that you're really looking for. So remember that too. Men's physique is a little different, obviously, with the board shorts. And there's no rule. I always say, just make sure it fits you and make sure they're up enough. Don't show us your pelvic bone area. We don't need to be seeing that. Right. So we understand your conditioning, we see it, but just make sure they fit you well. You don't want them swallowing you. You don't want your quads eating up your board shorts where you don't have any room in them. So keep that in mind too for the guys.
I think the most important thing for your suit is that it fits you properly.
Yeah.
Like, no matter how many rhinestones are on it or anything else, the fit of the suit and the cut of the suit is the most important thing.
Yep.
So let's talk about stage presentation and posing and the importance of it. I know you talk a lot about this. I mean, I do too. I think the reason I talk about it so much now is because when I first started competing, I didn't ever practice my posing. It was absolutely horrible, because I'm like, oh, this is a bodybuilding competition. Like, only my body matters. But really, if you don't know how to show your body, like, then what's the point? So I think that's why I just realized my own mistakes so much that I'm like, I got to educate people on this. It's so important.
Good for you. I mean, that's great. You're giving back. Being aware is the first step. So many people in today's world, like you and I were talking earlier, there's so much information and data out there now. It's not okay to not know. It's free. It's free to know, that we've been sharing for so long. So get the information. I can understand making mistakes and having little speed bumps, but get back on track. You got to know your stuff, because it is a competition in the long run, so, and it can get costly. So try to get your ducks in a row and do the best you can on that. Stage presentation. Make sure when you come out at your local, regional, pro level, it doesn't matter, because at the pro level, usually no, but make eye contact immediately, even side stage. Be prepared. I always say live at 5. Just because you're not on deck, you're not on stage, doesn't mean you shouldn't be ready, ready to enter stage. So mentally and physically, you should already be erected and ready.
Yes.
So, shoulders back, nice and tall, be, totally aware of the situation. It's okay to be nervous, but don't show being nervous. There's a difference. Okay. So make sure your eye contact with the judges, that's who matters in that whole room that day. Okay. Yeah, your friends and family might be out there. That's great. But make sure you're focusing on the judges because they are judging at that time. So make sure there's a handful of judges. Not all of them might be looking at that person on stage because they might have already judged and they're ready for the next person. So be ready. That next person in line ready. That expediter always has that next person ready to go. So be ready, present it. Don't look at the floor. You already know where the floor is. Look at the judges. Yeah. Come out and radiate and shine and showcase what you have done on your journey and make sure you present it well. Now, everyone's got their own personal routine. So in figure and bikini, where we got wellness, even with women's physique now, we bring them out. And depending on how big the stage is, but the national level now, Sandy or Tyler, they'll bring them out in sections of depending like 8, 10 or so. We'll see the class a little bit at once, showcase, the front, rear, and, and then exit off. And then you come back and do your routines, which is great for the judges because we can see the quality of the classes, prior to the individuals. It makes it a little bit easier on the judges too. It gives people more stage time, which is great. So know your quarter turns very well, know your individuals very well, because you're going to be judged on both. And I always say just less is more. So in bikini, I've seen girls deliver 13 poses and not land one good one. And I've seen girls come out and land, give me 3, and they were the most awesome, displayed her physique properly in 3 poses. So know what you're comfortable with. Because there's no right or wrong. There's no written rule a bikini girl must do. It's definitely a front or rear, but the transition, if you do an extra pose in or there, you definitely can.
So I've heard you say this before at a seminar, and I loved it. It really caught my attention. And so talking about girls coming out in their individual presentation and staying out there for forever, you said the more time that you stay out there, the more time you give us as judges to find your flaws.
Yeah.
Because as judges, that's what we're looking for. Chances are everybody looks great and everybody looks great by themselves. So the more time you stay out there, the more time it gives us to find your flaws and the less time it gives you in comparisons, because that's when the actual judging is done, is in comparisons more so, right?
You're exactly right.
Don't stay out there too long. Hit your best poses, just the best ones, and get the heck out of there. So.
And for the guys, same way, come out and know your division. Okay. Know your division, pose to your division. Okay. So, and I know you get more time as a pro and stuff. But okay, people that are not pros, you're still an amateur and you're watching these pro videos. Yes, it's a great measuring stick and a guide to help you a little bit, but realize they are allowed more time on stage, a little bit more freedom. So the routines might represent that. Okay. But sometimes it could be, like you said, we can still see your flaws. So keep that in mind if you're a professional also. Yeah. But as an amateur, and you try to duplicate Miss Olympia's bikini routine and it does not fit you, we know, baby, we know. So make sure you fit it into your comfort zone. And like Whitney said just a little ago, know your few poses and be done, exit off. So we don't see your flaws and take, dock points off for you.
Yeah. So, okay. I ask everybody this question, so I'm going to ask you too. Okay. If you could give one piece of advice, just one piece of advice to a new competitor getting started in the sport, what advice would you give them?
Train your brain to build your body.
Oh gosh, that's so good.
Train your brain. It all starts here. I swear to God, it does. And it's so funny because we see Instagram, Facebook, we just study all these things, but they don't realize that's all glamour in a moment in time, but that journey is so much longer. And you don't realize that long journey. So you got to really train your brain to realize the speed bumps you're going to hit along the way. It's not all glamorous. These guys and girls work hard to get there. It's not just, hey, I woke up this way, that kind of, because in pictures, we tend to forget about it's almost make believe kind of thing, so bigger than life, but you've got to take the time to build that mind to get that inner strength. So the less mistakes you make along the way.
I think on this day and age of social media, we see all the pretty pictures of the pretty physiques, and it looks so quick. The success looks so quick. And so the people getting started in the sport are like, oh, I can turn pro in a year.
Yeah.
And wrong mindsets happen. And
top end coach, because I did one show.
Right, exactly, that too. And it's funny because I just watched a sermon kind of talking about this, and he called it a time lapse testimony. So it's like you see where somebody is now, but you didn't see everything they went through to
Yeah.
get there, because it's like a time lapse. It's like, oh, here's the pretty pictures on Instagram, but you didn't see all the struggles that person went through.
Yeah.
And so it's like train your brain to train your body. I love
Yeah.
that.
You got to get in the trenches for a while first before, it's just kind of like there's a battle before you enter that stage that you must go through to be competitive.
Yeah.
No, one great thing, I love the sport of bodybuilding. I've been around it, like I said, since 1993. I love it. Everyone's got their own story and their own journey, and not everyone's going to be first place, obviously, but there's so many people that still win and didn't place first place, as in like, their journey of fat, their body fat loss, or the journey of coming over an illness, so the sport of bodybuilding gives people that stage, that venue to be able to display it. And that to me is so heartwarming. I love that about our sport. It's really cool.